I am stoked to have you here, Cydnee. Welcome to When the Cleats Come Off.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. I was just telling you, as soon as I saw you get interviewed after the game where you had beaten LSU the first time,
hmm
I was like, I need to sit on the show. And let's just throw in the backstory of how we've met. It was definitely by chance, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
So last summer, I was hanging out in Nebraska where I love to do hitting, base running, and mental skills clinics. I've been there, I think that was my third time there when you were visiting. Jordy was the last time before that, which is crazy. She was there for that. You Nebraska natives, you guys are
Yeah.
you guys are pumping out elite athletes there. But I was doing a clinic. I realized that I was probably one coach short. And I'm like, I need one more coach for me to feel good about this clinic. Like I like my ratios of like coach to player being, somewhere where every player has eyes on them. And who was your teammate that actually reached out to you? Because I was with her at the Fearless Warriors clinic.
Campbell. It
Okay,
was Campbell.
Campbell was like, "Oh, I know somebody who can help you out. Like I got a girl." And she texted you, and I think within like 5 minutes, I swear you texted back, and you're like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'll help." And you're literally at my camp wearing your like Southeastern Louisiana stuff. And I'm like, I love this girl. And all of a sudden, I'm watching the Women's College World Series, not Women's College World Series, the regionals, which
Yeah.
I'm excited to get into in a second. And you're getting interviewed because you had the game-winning hit against LSU the first time.
Yeah.
Take me through that moment. Was that like an out-of-body experience for you, or what?
Yeah. It was so surreal. I was talking about it with my friends too, because coming from a JUCO to that moment, it's just like it was just crazy. Like I definitely was like, whoa.
Big
And then like
stage.
yeah. And then I was watching like other games and I saw other girls do interviews and I was like, dang, like they do this all the time.
Yeah, they
I was
they have
like, yeah,
practice all the time.
yeah. I was like, that's just it was just really awesome. It was a really good
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
Do you remember any of the questions they asked you in that interview, or did it kind of breeze by?
Um, I don't think I remember
I
anything.
think I would have blacked out if I were
I
you.
did. I just remember everybody putting gloves on me. And then like my little John Cena toy, I remember that and that was it. I don't remember anything else.
You did so great. I thought it was such an insightful interview, and they asked you like four questions. And I told you Amanda Scarborough was one of those that had asked you
hmm
some questions, but you did awesome. Like you gave a
Thanks.
little insight on like what your team's about, what you were thinking about up to bat. You were talking about what Coach Freeman was kind of preaching to you and the team. I thought it was great. I
hmm
love interviews like that.
Yeah.
And you did not sound nervous at all. I thought you did great.
I just remember the only thing I really remember too when I spoke was right when I got on, I had the headset on. I was like, oh, I can hear myself speak.
You did say that. And that was
I
so
was like, dang it. I said that
that
out
was
loud.
amazing. I I loved it. And for those of you who are like, what are you talking about? I'm actually going to put the interview in the show notes if you want to go watch because it was great. Along with the actual reason why you were the interviewee
hmm
was the game-winning hit. Okay, so can we talk about this? So you guys were tied going into the seventh.
hmm
Um, were there two outs? I feel like you would know better than me.
Oh,
There might have been one.
yeah,
I don't
there's
know.
either one or two. I
Yeah,
think it might have been two, maybe. But yeah, one or
we'll have
two.
to go back.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look.
You were in the moment. You were like,
Yeah.
I'm up to bat. I'm going to score this runner or whatever. No, but you rope a single
hmm
to right center, scored your runner from first base, and that ended up being the game-winning run to
hmm
beat LSU. So take me back to that moment where the bat was in your hands and you're facing a very elite pitcher.
hmm
Take me back to that moment and what you were focusing on or thinking about.
So I just remember, so before that, I remember Maria getting hit by pitch, and I was like, okay, we need to do something with this batter getting on. I was like, we need to score because Coach Freeman throughout the entire season was like, 6 and 7, those are our best innings. We played a 6 and 7, the hardest we've ever played anything. So I was like, we need to score. So I get up to bat and I was like, I just need to like put it in play, something. And all season, kind of like the last few games, I had been getting pitched in a little bit and I had just been getting jammed and stuff. So I was kind of ready for inside, especially high and in, because that's usually my
Mm,
go-to pitch. And so she pitched it there, and I was like, I don't know. Like, you know, when you just see like a good pitch coming in. So I just hit it, and I was just glad that it found a space where the outfielders
weren't.
weren't at. And then Maria, she's super fast. So if that was me on base, I probably wouldn't have been able to score.
I
But
remember now. It was two outs. That's how
yeah,
she was able to score because as soon as you touched it, she was booking it. So she didn't
yeah.
have to
Oh,
read the
yeah.
defense at all. I do
Yeah,
remember
you're
this
right.
now.
You're right. You're right.
It's funny.
And
We
so,
we
yeah.
talked through it.
her speed, thank goodness. I was just so grateful that she was able to score. And I didn't realize how fast
Mhm.
she was. So I went back and I watched it and I was like, dang.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And I'm only going to say this because I put myself in your shoes when you hit first base, but since there was two outs, you had to probably like stay close to first instead of take second
Hmm.
because you were like, I can't get out, right? Because
Yeah.
this runner has to score. But initially
Yeah.
when I saw it, I'm like, Sid, go to second. You know?
Yeah, me too. Well, I was thinking that same thing, but I'm not. I'm definitely probably not the fastest one on that team.
Yeah,
They're
and
all
you don't want to
speed.
risk that in
Yeah, I
that
was like,
pressure situation.
yeah, because I saw that she was going to throw, but I was like, they might cut it, and I don't want to risk it. So
Hmm.
I just took a little lead, and then I came back, and I was like,
You made
nah,
the right move for you, and it
yeah,
ended up working.
yeah,
So
I did. Thank
amazing. And then
goodness.
the next day, y'all beat LSU again.
I know.
How did you do
Yeah.
that? How did your team do that? Like,
Well,
I
we
think
had,
it's just amazing.
yeah, well, we had lost to LSU, like, even before I was at the program, like, lost by 1 run on a walk-off, like, for multiple games. And so I think it was just like our time was due.
Mm,
And we are not losing that game. Like we even went into it. We had our I think our yellow on or our all gold. And those are like our good luck uniforms kinda. Or our coach, those are our coach's favorite uniforms.
I love it.
And so like we were just not ready to lose, especially not to LSU. And so we just like it was all out, like our backs against the walls. Like if we lose, we're done. So like we just I don't know. I don't know what took over us, but like we were not backing down. But it was like the funnest game ever. Went
Yeah.
being up, being tied, all that. It was
It was
fun.
back and forth and just tight the
Mm-hmm.
whole time, like all in. You guys scored, I think it was like seven runs. You might have won on the eighth run.
Yeah,
In the
yeah.
walk-off fashion that it was
Mm-hmm.
just unreal. Unreal. And to beat a team, especially a ranked team, 2 days in
Mm-hmm.
a row, two times in a row,
Yeah, they're a hard team to beat.
not easy.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So what was the game plan going into it? Other than like what was Coach Freeman saying, I guess, before the game?
I don't even know, but I think it was just like the same game plan. Like do what we did to like do stick to the plan that we had in game one against them
Hmm.
because we know we can beat them now. Like we got over that hump that like we couldn't beat them
Right.
even though we knew we could. So we kind of got over that hump. So like we knew we could do it again. We just had to not back down. We had to make
Mhm.
sure to keep the ball out of the air because that's what gets us in trouble a lot is when we pop up. I mean, I did that too, but
You
and so
you
we
owned
just
up to that in the interview.
yeah. So we just had to keep the ball out of the air, put it on the ground, and then just play hard no matter what happened.
I'm glad you mentioned that because as a hitting coach, a lot of times when I have athletes who are like, I'm popping up all the time, I'm like, have you
Hmm.
tried hitting a really hard ground ball?
Yeah.
You know, like the amount of times when you focus on hitting a hard ground ball, especially if you've been popping up, the
Hmm.
amount of times you hit it like the middle of the ball because you're
Hmm.
working two extremes, it happens so often. Like, and
Yeah.
because you were preaching that, I'm glad you mentioned this because that is such a good game plan if you guys are popping up. And
Hmm.
um, it's funny you were mentioning that on game two because that was your focus on day one. And yes, you hit a line drive. Like that's the funny
Hmm.
part. People think, oh, if I focus on ground ball, I'm gonna hit a ground ball. I'm like, no, not
Hmm.
always. Because if you're
Yeah.
working under the ball at all, which was my tendency with my swing,
Hmm.
you focus on a ground ball, you're just changing the angle of attack, and you're actually going to be able to get through it more. So,
Hmm.
heck yeah, I love that. Okay, so this part of the interview you said, and you probably just habitually said it because it sounded like this is something you guys live by. But you said trust system,
Hmm.
like, and that's like something that I guess you guys live and do as a team. Trust system.
Hmm.
What does trust system mean? Because I feel like listeners who are athletes or coaches like can really kind of think about this and maybe muster it a little bit on how they can implement that into their game. But
Yeah.
trust system, what does that mean?
So Coach Freeman, he's a great coach. He has kind of a system that he lives by when he's coaching and like has us live by. So like system per se would be like we have a two strike approach or stuff like that, or like which pitches we're hunting that game
Mm,
and what pitches not to swing at in that game. So that's kind of what I mean by system. Like when he said top half of the ball hit ground balls, that was kind of our system for that game.
mm,
And so kind of just sticking to that instead of being in our own way. Sometimes we're not really following to that, you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
So it just kind of means like trusting him, trusting his game plan and stuff like that, and sticking to what we know we can do as players and athletes.
That's so great. So does it feel like as an athlete, it helps you just keep things a little simple?
Yeah, definitely sometimes. And sometimes literally I will swing at a pitch that I knew I wasn't supposed to, and I'll foul it off. I'll go run to first and run back. I'm like, dang it, that was so unsystem. So it kind of just makes me like reset sometimes.
It's like your little check-in.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, I love that. And what's kind of cool is you probably create your own systems too, by the end of
Hmm.
the game. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
what's working, what's not.
Hmm.
And that's something you can carry even past the game of softball, I feel like trust the
Yeah.
process. But the system of you guys like having a plan and executing that plan from, I'm sure your pitchers have a system, I'm sure hitters have a
Hmm.
system, defense. I like that approach. I think that's really
Yeah.
neat. And it helps players kind of just like stay eyes on the prize rather than let distractions
Hmm.
come in. I had to ask you that because I'm like, those are not normal words for people to come out of people's mouths. Trust
Yeah.
system.
We say that all the time. Like my coach is like, trust system. Even in our player meetings, we're like, we just need to trust the system. I'm like, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a common phrase for in our program.
Now, I'm going to ask you this because there's a lot of coaches listening, but is there ever a time when system didn't work in your favor? Like maybe coach read something wrong. Um, does he admit it when he was like, okay, that system was not the right system for the
Hmm.
game? He does.
Yeah, there are definitely times, and Coach Freeman, he's big on ownership. Like he owns up to a lot of things. That's why he's such a great coach. Is he doesn't like transfer of blame at all, and so that's really what's the word? Like good to look up to,
Hmm.
knowing that he accepts it and that sometimes he'll put it on himself even when he doesn't need to, even when it is just our fault and we
Hmm.
just didn't follow it. But I don't know. Sometimes system can get us in trouble, but we don't really stray from it. Like if it doesn't work, we'll just go back at it again
Yeah.
until maybe something does work or something.
Yeah. But that's the key is like you go all in on the system and sometimes it
Hmm.
just doesn't work, right? And that's
Yeah.
where your coach is again taking the blame because he's like, okay, we got to change up the system.
Hmm.
But the nice thing about beating LSU is like we're not changing the system. We're doing
Yeah.
the same thing for round
Yeah.
two. And it worked. So that's so incredible. And now let's just talk about Sunday because I think it's just great that you made it to Championship Sunday. Like
Yeah.
how cool that you guys were on that stage. Now you're a Nebraskan,
Hmm.
so you were playing against some people that you knew growing up,
Hmm.
against Nebraska, against Jordy. Take me through that experience, especially for you, because you're the only one from Nebraska on your team,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
That had to have been wild for you.
Yeah. Definitely different down there than from Nebraska. But leading up to it from Selection Sunday, I wish I had the video of my reaction when I found out Nebraska was in there. I was literally like, yes. I was so excited because I wanted to play them so bad. And I watched them throughout the year because I'm proud of them. They have developed into like they were a great program, but then all the athletes that transferred in, I was just like, wow, they really grew and they kind of made Nebraska known. And I
Mm,
was like, that's so cool. Like, and that's what Southeastern is also trying to do. Because when you think of Louisiana, you think of LSU.
sure.
And so we're just trying to grow it ourselves. But then like seeing that, I was so excited the entire week. I was like, I want to play Nebraska. I want to. And then when we beat LSU the first time, literally, I went to my hotel room. I was like, I'm so excited. Even my teammates that I was sharing the room with, they're like, we know Cydnee, you know.
We get it.
Yeah, but it was just so awesome. I was so excited to play them. Even though we wanted to win, it didn't really go that way, obviously. But
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, like even some of the girls on the team, they're kind of well known more in the Nebraska area in Omaha. And so just to like be at that same level with them, I felt like it kind of just made me feel like, oh, I made it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Especially from like the JUCO route and stuff. Like this made me feel like, oh yeah, like I did make it. I'm at where these girls are at.
You earned your
So
seat to the table.
yeah,
You
that's
worked your
kind of
tail off for
yeah.
that. Yeah, that's so awesome. Now facing Jordy, what's that like? Because not many people have done that, and I think everyone deserves, or not everyone deserves, but we would love to hear what it's like facing Jordy, because I think I would be shocked and probably get myself out the first time at least.
Yeah.
Or
That's definitely what I did that
did you?
on Sunday. On Sunday I was yeah. But she's just a great pitcher. Oh my goodness. And then like watching her, I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna be amazing. I guarantee my mindset going into my first at bat was literally just swing. I
Mm,
was like, my goal was to just get a hit and hopefully score that run. But seeing that movement up close, I was like, yep, this is why she is a nominee for National Player of the Year.
yeah.
Like, that's why she won 2 national championships. She's the real deal. And yeah, like the movement too on her rise ball, I swung and missed at that, I think, a couple times throughout the regionals.
Did
But
it
yeah,
look like it was just a normal strike down the middle and then just kind of
yes,
spins off?
yes. Like, I swear it tailed up last minute. I was like, dang. But yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it's
awesome.
tough. It's tough. I wish I could go back and go hit against Doherty. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
But I mean, you both are juniors, so there is a
yeah.
chance that you guys can see each other again. What would be your
Hmm.
game plan if you faced her? We get one more at bat against Doherty.
Kind of simplify my game plan a little bit.
Mm,
Saturday, I felt like my game plan was super simple. I was like, I'm just gonna hit the ball. I'm not gonna overthink it too much because obviously she's really good, but I can hit her.
hmm
And then Sunday, I think there was just so much in my head because I remember I was watching a game on Friday about her two strike stats or like her opponent's batting average. I got to
hmm
two strikes, and that's all I was thinking. I was like, this is not what I should be thinking in this at bat. And then
Yeah,
I struck out down the middle. But
been
yeah,
there.
yeah. And so I
It
just
yeah.
yeah, my next if I ever faced her again, I think it'd just be to go back to that simple thinking and to just play loose and not really worry too much because I'm either gonna win or learn, is what my coach says. So
hmm Yeah, that reminds me of my Monica Abbott experience hitting against her,
hmm
which is now kind of like the Carlin Pickens is the
hmm
Monica Abbott of college now because just with
yeah,
the pure speed. And I remember getting myself out the first time because I was just like, it's Monica,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And I was a lefty, she's a lefty. She literally steps out of the circle. That's how big her step is. So I feel
yeah.
like the ball was instantly at me. And every time I had an at bat, I had to like change the plan, but like again, keep it simple, like you said.
hmm
And I think I ended up striking out in 3 pitches first time, pop up to the third baseman the second time, hard ground ball to the second baseman the third time, and I didn't get another chance that game. And I'm like,
hmm
man, if I would have one more at bat, I know my plan.
yeah,
So that's why I wanted to hear yours, just in case.
yeah,
And it's just, repetition. You're preparing for when you face her again, hopefully
hmm
next year. Who
yeah,
knows? Who knows?
yeah.
But no, I love hearing that piece from you because like you're in it. Like you were the one on
hmm
TV, you were the one we all were watching. And you guys were the team that a lot of us were pulling for because we were like,
hmm
oh my gosh, just imagine.
Yeah,
But
pretty cool.
that such a unique and cool experience, like something you'll never forget, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah. Did
that's
you
all.
take any memorabilia? Like, are you keeping anything to remember that experience?
Well, we got little what are they called? Like the lanyards with your name cards on them.
Mm,
I kept that because it just said that we were student athletes. But after the game, they had like the post game interviews with the place cards with your names on them.
yeah.
I wanted to keep that, but I saw this one guy from March Madness. He asked for it, and he's like, "You get at the end." So I didn't ask for it, but I
Oh,
really,
you didn't get it.
uh-uh.
Dang it.
I know. I really wanted that too. I should have just asked for it, but I have the little necklace and stuff, so that was
I was
cool.
gonna
And I got
say,
this t-shirt.
reach out to NCAA championships or something and be like,
Yeah.
hey. And I guarantee you, if they don't still have it, it's probably very cheap for them to just make it. So who
Yeah.
knows? You never know.
Yeah.
You can get
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
That's that's awesome. I love that. I love that take. Okay, so I would love to talk about too, because you played 2 years at Iowa Western Community College.
Mhm.
Um, and I would love to hear your experience, going into that. And then I think you had mentioned it's not quite transfer portal when you move from a JUCO
Mhm.
to a Division I school, but just take us through that experience for you because I think there's a lot of people who are like D1 or bust, but like your route
Yeah.
was different. And I think it's very unique and something that we all could learn from, especially
Mhm.
me. I want to know.
So out of high school, I didn't really know if I wanted to play softball in college because I don't know, my high school experience with it just wasn't the best, and I was starting to really lose my love for the sport.
Mm,
But I had Iowa Western looking at me, DMAC, and then Simpson College, which I don't remember what division they were or if they were NAIA, but I decided to go to Iowa Western because they were only 30 minutes away. And I was like, okay, I'll just do 2 years of JUCO and then I'll just quit and then go to a 4 year. That was my plan.
Wow.
Yeah. And then first year at Iowa Western, I was starting to like it again. The girls on the team, like it was just, I don't know how to describe it, but you get super close. Yeah, you know.
Hmm.
And then being at a JUCO where like the campus is so much smaller, I just I made other friends outside the sport too, and it was just a really fun year. And then my sophomore year came, and a girl I went to high school with, Allison Cromer, she came to my JUCO as well, and then a bunch of other girls from Elkhorn, and it was just so much fun. Like I had the best time of my life, and I was like, okay, I do want to go to a 4 year and play. And so after my freshman year, I had some schools looking at me to transfer that sophomore year, but I didn't want to. I wanted to finish my 2 years, and I'm so glad I did because it was the best time of my life.
Wow.
But so then my sophomore year came, and my coach, she was like, "Okay, we need to get started on the recruiting," because I don't know if it's technically called the transfer portal, like you said, but because our coaches help us and stuff like that. So I gave her a list, and I wanted a faith-based program, and preferably in the South because I wanted to move to the South so bad. I was thinking like Alabama, like not that school, but stuff like places down there. And Louisiana wasn't even on my list, but she remembered Coach Freeman from a player she had sent him like 10 years ago. And they haven't kept in touch since. They didn't really talk ever. But then she remembered him. And so she called him, and I don't really know what happened there, but then he reached out to me, and then we got onto a phone call, and then we went on a visit, and I was like, yeah, I want to come here. Because literally on my visit, he was talking so much about the Lord, and I was like, yeah, I need to be here. And so then that's kind of how I got there. And then, yeah, that's how it took place since. But honestly, like I wouldn't even be playing here if it wasn't for my JUCO. The girls, Coach Jordan, like I owe it a lot to them for helping me get here now and then helping me kind of enjoy the sport again.
Do you feel like because you enjoyed the sport so much is the reason why you thrived at your JUCO and then were able to extend your career further?
Yeah, I think it was because just the close knit community, because it's literally like your school is so small, having those friends outside of it, having those friends on the team, like I just felt so, I don't know, like loved by everybody.
Mm.
And like it kind of just made me realize, like, oh, like why am I putting so much pressure on this sport? Like it's just a game that I picked up when I was young. And so like it kind of just made me feel like a kid again, being able to play with all these people that like love me, I love them, and they're just like my sisters and stuff like that. So it's just really cool. And then it just really just was like helped me relax.
Do you have that same feeling at Southeastern Louisiana too?
Mm-hmm.
You found
Yeah.
that same fit.
Yeah.
That's
And I think
special.
it just stemmed from my JUCO because yeah, I think it just, yeah, I don't know what else to say, but yeah.
I'm a firm believer that, when you have a team who have fun, obviously you need to be winning to
Mhm.
have fun. Like I think if
Yeah.
every if you lost every game, it's hard to have fun.
Yeah.
But you love the people to your right and your left. You have your bad days, you have your great days. You guys work your tails off next to each other in the weight room. Like
Hmm.
if you lean into each other like that, you can do special things. And I think your team is a testament to that. This
Hmm.
past, when was that? Like a month ago? Oh wait, it was like a week ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy how fast this
I
this
know.
postseason goes. Um, but I think it's just a testament of, when you're in a place where you feel like you're accepted, people get you, you can be
Hmm.
yourself. And you said that in your interview as well. I don't know if you remember, but like, oh, just be ourselves. I think
Hmm.
that is the key. And I think that's what everybody should be searching for, a place where you can be
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's why you beat LSU twice. I'm just gonna say it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like this team at Southeastern, I look up to a lot of the girls, and I love it too because before coming in, Coach Freeman, he kind of assigns like pairs. So you get a big sis who's like a veteran and a returner. And then we're the little sisses, like the transfers and stuff, and the newcomers. And so my big sis was Waddy, our first baseman, Madison Watson. And honestly, I look up to her so much, like, and just to have like those influences on the team. Maria is a great role model. She's very system too. very,
Mm-hmm.
very system. And it's just like girls like that, they're just really easy to go to and they help you a lot in understanding the culture and the system. So yeah.
That's special. Now, I'm sure you can't share the entire system with us
Hmm.
because it's your team system.
Yeah.
But what are kind of like the main tiers of that system that if there's a coach out there or player out there that wants to, you know, dive a little bit more into this, what can they focus on that comes stems from your system?
Mm-hmm. So like pitchers, they have their own little system and which is play like you're the only defender on the field. That's kind of how he tells everybody, but he really wants pitchers to go for every ball that they can and not just let balls go through.
Mm-hmm.
That's like his main thing. And then
Mm-hmm.
also to get off the field in certain pitches or in a certain number of pitches or less. So that's kind of what their system is. And then fielders, he doesn't get mad about errors. He just doesn't want it to affect your game, you know? So after
Mm-hmm.
an error, just go back to system, go back to fielding, arms out, shuffle, throw, stuff like that, and just break it down and make it simple for yourself. And then for hitters, like I said, we have the two strike approach just to help us get ball on the ground and stuff like that. And then obviously two outs, like you're going on anything. So just stuff like that, that kind of just break it down for you and stuff like that, like base running, just make it simple for yourself.
Yeah. And are those things that you're doing in practice or are they just mindsets for
Mhm.
games? How are you doing that stuff in practice then? Let's just talk about the hitting where it's like hit the ball down. You know,
Yeah, so
what do your stations look like for that? I'm just
we'll have
curious.
days. So, like, there are days he sends out the practice plan every day in a long text, which I appreciate. And so he'll tell us like our certain rounds and stuff like that. So we'll have days where we literally just do like top half, like you're hitting everything on the ground and stuff like that. And so, and then you'll have days where we have other hitting plans that we have to do. So we'll do those as well. So it'll be like top half and then hit it like oppo, hit it pull side, stuff like that. And then he'll have other days where he's like aggressive. So you're swinging at ball, strike, wherever the pitch is, you're just swinging as hard as you can. And then you'll have
That's fun.
selective, yeah. And then you'll have selective days where you can't do that. But you know, it's still fun. But I like how he kind of breaks it down and stuff like that, so we can practice every approach that we'll probably get in a game.
Hmm. So, what's your individual system as a catcher? Because I know there's some catchers listening that would probably love to know what the heck your
Mhm.
mindset is. Because you, when you were playing, especially when we were watching
Mhm.
postseason, um, you just always looked like you were calm and in control. And I
Mhm.
don't know what that comes from. Like, what are you mainly focusing on? Are you trying to make your pitcher look good? Like, what's your approach as a catcher in that situation?
Um, I kind of just trust in myself and trust like all the years of practice that led up to it. But my main goal is A, to make the pitcher look good, like you said. So I try, and Coach Freeman has helped me throughout the year with like positioning behind the plate and how to frame the ball the best. So that's what I'm mainly focusing on. And then like if it's a ball, I'm talking to the umpire to figure out like, okay, what I need to do like differently with my framing or like what he's seeing and stuff like that. But I just try to remain calm because if something bad goes happen, I don't want the pitcher to kind of take it on themselves. So I don't know, but a lot of them do. But I'm just trying to stay calm so that way, because everybody's kind of looking at you, looking at the batter, looking at the pitcher. So like those are big roles on the field. And so our goal is to just kind of remain calm and don't let the game overtake you and kind of take it like one pitch at a time. And I also have Coach Freeman, I have the ear set, the earpiece. So
Hmm.
he's also in my ear. And so if I make an error, sometimes he's just like, okay, so you take a deep breath and know what you did wrong. And then let's go and let's fix it. And then he's like, just take a deep breath real quick. And so I'm like, okay, yeah.
Speaking of the earpiece, I've never played when the earpiece was allowed.
Mhm.
So, do you enjoy that? Like, is that something that you had to get used to? Is it weird? Was it
Mhm.
weird when you first started doing it? Like,
Yeah.
take me through the earpiece for you, especially because I see them on TV and I'm like, oh my
Hmm.
gosh, how does that not bug you, first of all?
Yeah.
But also, like, what are you hearing? What's going on?
Yeah. It
You've
does
already
take
kind of
some.
mentioned the hearing part, like what Coach
Yeah.
is saying, but
It does take some getting used to because I never was used to that either. I always used the wristband.
mm,
And so like I had to get used to it. I had to get used to oh, okay, like he can talk to me whenever he wants, but I can't talk back.
It's true.
And so like sometimes like he'll ask me something and I'm just like, what? But yeah, basically he just tells me like pitches and he's like, okay, where did that miss and stuff like that. And he'll talk to me like if I made an error, like I said, he'll tell me to just take a step back and deep breath. But sometimes though the earpiece can be a hassle to work with because sometimes it'll shut off, sometimes it'll die, and sometimes his what is it like what he speaks into, sometimes that won't turn on.
Oh,
And so I'm
wow.
like, and then obviously we have the timer now. And so sometimes our pitcher's like, let's go. And I'm like,
I
I
got
don't know what to
nothing.
do.
I got
Yeah.
nothing.
So I have to just do that. And sometimes, yeah, it'll take too long, but
Yeah.
definitely something to get used to. But honestly, I don't mind it too much. I know some people don't like it, but I don't think
You got
it's
to
too
adapt,
bad.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the crazy thing about the game is like all of these new elements are being put on you, but like you're an athlete.
Hmm.
You got to be an athlete and adjust. That's
Yeah,
literally something that I like go by now is just be an athlete, you know? What would
exactly.
an athlete do? They'd figure it out.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have moments where you fail, but that's where coaches taught you, like, own it, move on. Let's just
Hmm.
make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. And regardless, that pitch is going to get thrown. So,
Yeah,
y-
yeah, it
y-
is.
yeah.
It is. This has been so much fun, Sid. I have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know your team and you and especially the experience that you've just had. But I want to end with something fun that I call it Five to Thrive, which
Okay.
is five rapid fire questions. I do it with newer guests that I have, and you're a brand new guest, so welcome. Um, but I think it'll be fun to kind of get to know you. Don't feel like you have to give an elaborate answer, just whatever comes to mind, give it to me. Does that sound good?
Mhm.
Okay, but before we dive in, I know there are going to be some athletes that are like, how can I follow Cydnee? I want to keep following her journey. You have one more year left
Mhm.
at Southeastern Louisiana, and we all want to follow you. So where can people follow you in your
Uh,
journey?
I have an Instagram and a TikTok, I think. That's it. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Do you know your handle, or do I need to just like put it in the show notes later?
No, I know my Instagram handle. It's hold on. No, it's Sid underscore, so CYD underscore Schneider, and then one, I think. And then my TikTok username's a little embarrassing.
Okay. We can hide that one.
Yeah. But I mean, feel free to follow, but it's a little embarrassing.
I love it. I love it. What can we look forward to with your team this year, this upcoming year? I know we are still processing what happened in 2025,
Hmm.
but what should we be looking forward to in 2026?
That will be there again. Our goal is to win, to make it to Championship Sunday again next year. And just to, I want everybody to know that like we are a great school, we're a great program. We have good athletes, like mid majors can be just as good as these top power schools. So I just don't want anybody to be surprised
Mm,
because we're coming.
I love that. I love that.
Hmm.
It's perfect. All right, you ready for some rapid fire?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay. Because I'm a hitting coach and I love hitting. As you found out in Nebraska,
Hmm.
what is your favorite hitting drill right now that you like to do?
Oh, a 2T drill.
Describe
Oh,
it. You don't have to do a full just description, but what is 2T?
I just put one T and then another T slightly higher, and then my goal is to just stay through the ball because sometimes I pull off.
How far do you put them from each other? Like a foot, two
Like back
feet?
to back. So like the T bases are back to back to each other.
Perfect. Are you hitting both balls then?
Hmm. That's the goal.
I love it.
To stay through
Okay.
both. Yeah.
I like it. 2T drill. Big fan.
Hmm.
What is your favorite Coach Freeman quote?
Oh shoot. I don't even know. I don't know. Oh man. I can't even think of
It can
one. You
be
know, like
deep, it could be funny, like whatever comes to mind. Something that like he says that you're like, "Oh, I need to share this."
I'm blanking on everything right now.
Do we come back to it? We can come
Yeah.
back to it.
Back
Okay,
to
great. Um, I want to know about the influence that your parents have had on you. So think about like young Sid, the Sid who
hmm
loved to play softball. Like, what were some of those things that they did that stood out to you and helped you love the sport?
My dad, he would just tell me to like stick through it, Cydnee. Because remember, I told you there was that time between high school and college where I was like, I don't want to do it. He's like, stick through it. Like you're gonna change your mind. And he just always showed up. So I think that was just very influential on me, and he was always there to push me.
Do you want to talk about that experience
Um, with what?
when you didn't like it? You don't
Oh,
have to go deep on it, but I think a lot of people listening have had an experience where it's either a coach
mm-hmm,
or, bullies on the team that have like made them hate the sport.
mm-hmm.
Actually, let's just make that the next rapid fire question, even if it's not
Okay.
rapid. What would you say to those players who are going through a really tough time? You can say what your dad said, but like, what did you need to hear in that moment?
I just needed to be pushed because I feel like I knew deep down I didn't ever want to quit, but I just was not having fun. I didn't want to go to practice. I didn't want to play games. Like it just was not fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like just having that push for like Cydnee, like this money, like we put a lot of money into this, like for this sport, we put a lot of money, time, and you just want to give up on that. Like he gave me the honest truth. Like I knew deep down I didn't want to quit, but I just wasn't having it at the moment. But he told me and he pushed me to like stay through it, and I'm glad he did, whether I tell him or not. But
One
yeah,
day. I always
one day
say when I was
maybe.
25 is when I actually started looking at my dad and like, I get it now.
Yeah.
I needed that, you know? I needed that lecture after that really tough game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, speaking of which though, too, the athletes who, let's say, want to go the JUCO route,
Mm-hmm.
why do you love the JUCO route? Like, what did it do for you? And also, what advice would you give people who want to go the JUCO route or even transfer portal route? Because technically you did move
Mm-hmm.
schools.
Yeah.
What's the key that what's the message you would want to give athletes in that situation?
I just would like to say like I don't want the main thing is to not be embarrassed of going the JUCO route because it's still competitive and a lot of people they go from our D1 bounce backs, they're going D1, they're going any level of college and college sports is good to not be embarrassed by that because I know I was in high school.
Hmm.
And so just and the competition is just as good everywhere you go. Like it may be different levels of it, but you're still going to face like top competitors from that school. And it was just so much fun. Like I would tell everybody to go the JUCO route if they could. Like it is
Wow.
the most fun. You grow up fast too. Like you kind of have to.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
that's special. There is so much competitive softball at the JUCO level. I think people just
Mm-hmm.
don't realize it.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's special. And I love that you're this story of, you started at JUCO, didn't even love the sport at the time,
Mm-hmm.
grew the love back, and now you're sitting there and you're an ESPN highlight. Like literally there is an ESPN article on ESPN.com about you
Oh,
having
there
your
is.
having your game-winning hit. And they show the interview and the hit and everything. Like
Mhm.
it it's not like a 45-minute read, but it's like
Yeah.
this cool little clip that you can find on ESPN. I'm like, that is
Hmm.
so cool
Yeah, that
that,
is cool.
it just took a little bit of love coming back to it
Hmm.
to be where you are. Final question. We might have done six rapid fires at this point, but that's okay. How do you want your team to be remembered? Especially from this last year where you guys made this crazy awesome run. Like,
Hmm.
how do you want to be seen and remembered by people who are watching you?
Um, I want them to not, what's the word? I want them to see our name and then kind of be like scared to face us. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Not just think that, oh, like in the regional, they put us at the 4 seed, like, oh, they're just a 4 seed. No, we're not. And we can
Hmm.
take down the one. So I kind
Hmm.
of want people to kind of be scared when they hear our name because like we are good and we can show it and we can back it up.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. And I will say, you did your due diligence. Like we all are
Mhm.
looking at this team going, okay, the host is out of the tournament in the finals
Yeah.
game. Like you guys have made a statement. I can't wait to see what's going to happen this next year, but enjoy your summer, enjoy rest because I know how gruesome a long season is.
Yeah.
And I've never been past a Big Ten tournament. I've never played in a regional. So you had extra games on top of that. So you're probably extra tired. But thank you so much for sharing your heart with us today. This has been so much fun. And do you have any final messages that you would want to give that you're like, oh my gosh, I need you to know this about my team, or I need you to know this about catchers, or anything where you're just like, I need people to know this about us?
Um, I don't know. Just that we're a bunch of I don't even know. Actually, I have no idea. I
I
don't know
thought you
how
were
to
about to say we're all a bunch of goofballs.
Yeah, I was literally about to be like, we're all a bunch of like, normal people. We like to have fun and we just like to go after it, I guess is what I was gonna say. That's
You
such a
guys,
bad answer,
you
but
guys look like you guys had fun. I think
yeah.
that's cool. I love that
Yeah.
because, these young girls who are looking up to you, they
Mhm.
think you guys are like superstars, which you are,
Yeah.
but they don't realize that you guys are awesome. You
Hmm.
guys are like people that you don't want to hang out with. I had so much fun hanging out with you in Nebraska last summer.
Yeah.
I already can't wait to be back, and hopefully you're going to be around to coach my next clinic out there, which I don't know when it is yet, so don't worry. But no, it's been a blast getting to know you. I can't believe how far we've come in this friendship of,
Hmm.
hey, you're helping me with the clinic too. Hey, welcome to my podcast. But you have
Yeah.
been such a special guest, and I'm so grateful, Sid, that you could spend time with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.